As somebody that runs a business, I think about information security and I think, that's well down the list of things I need to worry about. I will now say my thinking around this topic has changed completely.
Regardless of what industry, cyber risk is almost always in the top 3 risks that business is exposed to. I've been a longtime technology executive in Sacramento. I was the former CIO for River City Bank. I think a lot of CEOs can benefit from taking a closer look at risk management in general. What those CEOs will find is as soon as they start learning a bit more about information security and the threat of that risk to their business, they'll start taking it a little bit more seriously, much like you've done with River City Bank.
I want our customers to know that we do a series of things in order to protect their money and their data. That starts with our employees training, the business continuity planning that we do, the business resumption planning, so that we're prepared for the attack, so that everybody's really clear about what their roles and responsibilities will be. So let's say, worst case scenario, the fraudsters get into your network. Are there things that you could have done in preparation to help mitigate the damage, or is it at that point you're out of luck?
When you get to that point, if you're a business, the reality is no matter how much money you spend on information security, no matter how great your defense is, all it takes is just one sophisticated cyber actor. They just have to get lucky. Engage with a firm, a legal firm, that's used to responding to active incidents. Have them come out once a year, have those firms weigh in on recent breaches, what had occurred, how the attackers got in, and then what lessons were learned. It's always better to learn on someone else's mistakes.
I think the fastest growing segment for cyber fraud is ransomware. What should companies be thinking about in terms of protection against ransomware attacks?
Usually these breaches come through phishing attacks to an organization's employees. The attackers get in. The first thing any attacker does is try to establish a foothold in the network, and then the attacker will start trying to poke around the network to see what they've got, what data might be useful, or if they're just going to lock down the operations of the organization and wait to receive a ransom payment. I love recommending adding tools that look for that persistence. In addition to that, looking for anomalous behavior, trying to attack different vectors within the network.
I think a lot of businesses, they think, well, the fraudsters they're not going to target my business. I'm too small for them to worry about.
Because most smaller companies don't embrace a full risk management culture, they haven't thought through the risks they're exposed to here. You get into a public entity and you're not dealing with shareholder dollars. Oftentimes those dollars are easier to get access to. The attackers know this, and it makes those public sector entities that much more attractive.
One other thing that you mentioned that I wanted to follow up and ask you about it was insurance. Let's say my business gets hit with some malware that came through some software from one of my vendors. Should I have insurance to protect against that?
It makes sense to know in advance of the incident occurring rather than after the fact. Get an idea of who those vendors are that you're exposed to. Get in touch with your insurance provider and have a discussion with them around what types of incidents the insurance does cover, what incidents does the insurance not cover. Then once you've had that discussion, gaps, of course, and then you can take that information and then go and review the agreements that you have with those software vendors.
I've enjoyed our chat.
It's been fun, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.